Alright YouTubers, I've had my table saw now for 2 or 3 weeks, well a week to 10 days say, and I thought I'd do a little review on my experiences with it. Now I've discovered this is the old style of Dewalt DW745. That's the labelling there, and that's a bit irritating for a start. Okay, I've looked on YouTube and there are other Dewalt's models available, and one of their contractor or job site saws has various features that is lacking on this one. Little things, but nonetheless, you know, they niggle a little bit. One of the things that I've noticed on some of the job site saws that Dewalt make is they have a bracket down along here for clipping your fence into when it's not in use. So you can store your fence down here, and that's handy because at the moment I've got to set it on the ground, or I'm tripping on it, or it's sitting on a fence or sitting on a wall, and I'm always scared it'll get knocked off, you know, and damaged. The other thing I've seen on one of the newer ones is the newer job sites is these tools are simply retained by a sort of button that they push in, and then it just sort of these spring off. So you don't have to undo this butterfly nut every time. Again, it's just a little thing, but it's not difficult to do, but when you're trying to do it with one hand, you can easily drop it, and then you've got to bend down and look for it, and it's just a hassle there. So, you know, that's two things DeWalt have improved upon. Now, these two brackets here, I don't actually know what they are for. So there might be something that I'm missing. So that I don't understand what that's for. Could that be for the fence bracket? I don't know. What else is there? Other little points. Another addition to the newer job site saws is a redesigned switch here. Now, I don't know if you're seeing that. You've just got a simple on and off switch here. Yeah. The newer one has a safety feature which can flick down above your green on button, and that prevents, say, it's like childproof. It prevents children from starting the saw, or it's supposed to. That's not so much. That's not so such a big deal for me. But one of the features is that a larger off, like paddle, I don't know what you'd call it, but the paddle sits in front of your off switch, and you can hit it with your knee and it'll switch your off switch off. And you can see from your camera here, you know, you're about a hand's depth under the table to this switch, and when you're standing, it's actually quite difficult to find where the off switch is. You know, you're trying to find it and hold your bit of wood or whatever's happening on the surface here, and it's just awkward, you know, and possibly a little bit of a delay in switching the saw off in an emergency situation. Right, so those are 2 or 3 little points. Oh yeah, the other thing is where they store the cable. It's really quite inadequate. I'm finding when I'm carrying the saw that quite often the cable will unwrap itself and end up you know, tripping me. You know, so I've got to try and make sure it's hooked in a sort of manner that it can't undo like that. Then it seems to be okay, but it's just a little niggle, you know. Another one is your safety guard. It simply clips on the back of, hold on, see if I get this right. No. Hold on. There we go. Right. So it just simply clips on the I forget what the term for this part is right at the moment. But it just simply clips on like that. Okay? And the saw, the guard serves its function fairly well. It doesn't clip up out of the way like the newer one, and that again, that's annoying. So you end up taking it off most of the time. You know, I said to myself when I got the saw that no, I would leave the guard on because, you know, health and safety, and I don't want to lose my digits. You know, but this is just really a bit of a pain in the arse, to be honest with you. The other thing is this little wee butterfly bolt here at the back, which is kind of like acts as the hinge mechanism for the guard. It gets in the way of the fence, so if you're cutting something narrow and hold on, I'll just release the fence, and you want the blade in or the fence in, you cannot do it, right? Because the nut is in the way. Okay, so we have the added functionality of this, right? So we take that out, we'll undo that, flip it over, and we use that then as your fence. And that's a superb idea. I'm really enjoying that. And it's great how they've got the push stick here clipped at the side, because that's just a very handy place to have it clipped. So anyway, getting back to this, we're wanting to use this as our fence then. Now that's fine for low stuff that will pass underneath here, where you don't have to have any height on the saw blade. But let's say you've got, let's just put the saw blade up a little bit. Now as you're lifting the saw blade, obviously the butterfly nut there is also lifting. But let's say you've got a really thick bit of lumber to cut, say 4 inch. Now the blade's only going to cut, I think, a maximum of something like 3 inches, yeah? So you'd do it in 2 passes, like 2 inches on one pass, then you'd turn the bit of wood, or reverse the bit of wood and cut the other 2 inches, so you're getting a full cut through on one side. Can't do it because this isn't high enough and it just gets in the way. So that's what happens. It doesn't get used. It's just a pain in the backside 24/7. I haven't tested the dust extraction on it. I don't have any facilities for that. I'm using it outside, so I just have to put up with a bit of dust, I'm afraid. Finally, the miter gauge. It's really, really shoddy, plasticky. You know, it's very light in construction. The fence on the miter gauge is, you know, they've made an attempt at moving the sharp edges from here, but it just looks like a bit of a window frame. You know what I mean? It just looks very unprofessional. It's quite sharp edges on it. I'll need to take them off. Just I wouldn't have cut myself badly on that, but you don't want to get cut, do you? You know. So, and not only is it very loose in the tracks here, you know, I don't know how well you'll see that with the camera, but you've got a good bit of play there, you know. Now obviously as you go in, that play is reduced, but you've got a fair bit of slop. So, not happy with this, and either, you know. Now those are my main gripes. That's 1, 2, no fence storage, 3. They've improved upon a lot of these issues already, I believe. The saw itself is fantastic, you know. I really can't, you know, I don't have a lot of experience with table saws. You know, this is my first table saw, and it's got good reviews from everyone that's owned one. I've been ripping wood, cross-cutting wood, doing 45-degree miters, and the finish I'm getting is pretty good. You know, I'm still learning. How to use the saw in a professional manner. It'll get the the best finish, and you know how it'll hold the wood, how it'll push the wood through without it lifting off the table. All these little things, you know, it's just a experience is what I'm lacking there. Finally, it's 12 minutes already almost. These 4, well, there's actually 5 Phillips head screws on this part of the table. 4 of them are just adjusting or jacking bolts, yeah, and this 5th one is just a little wee locking screw. Underneath here you've got a small plastic tab that sort of flicks round and locks this part to the table. Now, there's no Phillips screwdriver. It's just, you know, if you want to remove this part for any reason, or if you want to maybe change a blade, you've got to have a Phillips screwdriver to remove this. This slot here, that is designed for one of your little lifting tools over here. I think it's on the end here. This part here fits into the slot, so you can lift it out. Now, most people will just jam their finger in there to do it, you know. In fact, that's not locked correctly, so you can see now the plastic bit. It really is a little bit inadequate. I don't. It's very plasticky. There's quite a few things on the saw that's quite plasticky. Also, this plate, there's a fair bit of flex, you know, between the two halves. I don't know if they could have done something with maybe having, you know, made it a bit more robust by having it slightly longer possibly, and attached at the back here, like what we have here at the front. Now, getting back to this little slot that I referred to for lifting it out, you know, some of us wouldn't want to put our finger down here in the way of the blade, especially if the blade is fully extended. But instead of having a slot, why not just had a round hole here? Then you could have popped your finger in there to lift it out without having to rake around for a tool at the side here. And I think that could have been designed a little bit better as well. So, just little things, you know, but things that I'm already seeing could have been improved, and possibly a lot of them have been improved since this model was designed. Yeah, here again, quite sharp edges on some of these parts. Not entirely satisfied with that. But it's ridiculously expensive in the UK to buy one of these saws. I couldn't find them anywhere for much under £400. In the UK, in the US, you'll get the same saw, albeit the 110 volt version, for $300, which is equivalent of 200 quid. So 200 quid in the US, 400 quid in the UK, and yeah, okay, we get a slightly more powerful motor because we're 240 volt here, whereas the US use 110 volt. But I looked at the specifications of the motors on both models, and yeah, you know, there is more power in the UK version. It doesn't have to rotate at such a high RPM as the US version does, but you know, that's a negligible difference, and to charge us an extra 200 quid for which is what is essentially the same bit of kit is just no on. So yeah, I really like this saw. It's got its niggles. It's not a precision instrument, but it's not bad. I'd certainly recommend somebody, you know, I kind of compare it to any other saws because I've never had another saw, but I'd certainly recommend you buy a saw like this. So that's enough for now, folks. Signing off, and I hope you've found this informative, and catch you again soon. Bye for now.